The SLATE truck is a beautifully simplified EV two-door pickup, produced in a single configuration from the factory.
Not a lot of stuff, but just the basics inside a car, and still looking sleek and luxurious, is what Jeff Bezos aims for. The new electric vehicle under his name is priced at only $26,000, a nightmare to Elon Musk and his company Tesla. Americans are all in with their deposit. It's a game-changer EV that will shock the whole industry. From Tesla to SLATE, 5 similar letters but totally different in style and price tag. Let's start diving deeper. Bezos, winning the hearts of Americans. Think of Jeff Bezos, and you'll definitely think of Amazon, the massive company that changed how we shop, read, and even watch TV. But now, Bezos is setting his sights on something entirely different: electric vehicles. And surprisingly, he's not going after the luxury crowd. Instead, he's going after the everyday American. Through his investment in SLATE Auto, a Detroit-based EV startup, Bezos is backing something that's affordable, straightforward, and designed with real people in mind. A $26,000 electric truck that might just win the hearts of millions. What makes this move so interesting is how different it is from everything else happening in the EV world. While companies like Tesla are focused on making ultra-futuristic, high-end vehicles, SLATE is going the opposite way. They're focused on building something simple, practical, and cheap. At just $26,000, or $20,000 in pounds, the SLATE EV truck is priced lower than almost any other electric vehicle on the market, especially when you consider that Tesla's Cybertruck starts at over $87,000. That's not just a gap, it's a canyon. And this is exactly where Bezos is striking gold. For many Americans, the idea of going electric sounds great, better for the environment, cheaper to maintain, and fun to drive, but the price tags often make it feel out of reach. SLATE's truck is changing that. It's being marketed not as a luxury, but as a smart, affordable tool that people can actually use. It's the kind of thing you can drive to work, help a friend move with on the weekend, and still look good pulling up to a barbecue. SLATE's approach is refreshingly down to earth. Their slogan, "We build it, you make it," says it all. The truck is designed to be modular and customizable. Want to turn it into a mini camper? Go for it. Need it for hauling gear? No problem. It's like the Swiss Army knife of trucks. Versatile, but not flashy. That's the genius of it. It's not about bragging rights. It's about getting stuff done without breaking the bank. And Americans are paying attention. While Tesla is dealing with production delays, falling market share, and some questionable PR from Elon Musk, SLATE is quietly positioning itself as the brand for the rest of us. Their prototype reveal in Los Angeles in April 2025 caught people by surprise, and the buzz online showed that people are hungry for a no-nonsense electric truck they can actually afford. The fact that this all happened just before Tesla's earnings call, not a coincidence. SLATE is playing smart. Bezos, of course, knows how to spot a winner. He's not just throwing money at this project, he's bringing in top talent from the auto world, including veterans from Ford, GM, and Harley-Davidson, and even former Amazon execs. The company is planning to manufacture the truck in Indiana, another signal that they're thinking about jobs, affordability, and middle America. Not just tech hubs and luxury buyers. There's something incredibly American about this whole thing. A cheap, tough, build-it-your-way electric truck made in the Midwest. That's not just a business plan. That's a message. It says, "We see you, we know what you need, and we're building it for you." In a time when a lot of companies seem to be chasing headlines and hype, SLATE and Bezos are focusing on what really matters to people: value, practicality, and trust. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. Building cars at scale is hard, and competition in the EV space is fierce. Rivian, Ford, and even overseas brands like BYD are all fighting for a piece of the pie. But if SLATE can deliver on its promise, a reliable, customizable EV truck for under $30,000, it could shift the entire market. More importantly, it could win over the hearts of Americans who are tired of being priced out of the EV revolution. Bezos, once seen as the tech titan building rockets and online empires, is now backing a pickup truck for the people. And if that's not a twist no one saw coming, I don't know what is. Jeff Bezos might just become the unlikely hero of the everyday driver, building something flashy, but by building something real. What's more to the new EV star? SLATE, the truck of the masses. Like we said, the man who turned a humble online bookstore into the global giant Amazon is now diving into a completely different world: electric vehicles. Their company is aiming to do what many have tried and failed to pull off: challenge Tesla's dominance. SLATE isn't just launching another electric car, it's working on a modular, customizable electric pickup being hailed as a potential Tesla killer. Launched quietly in 2022, SLATE is not your typical flashy Silicon Valley EV company. Backed by Bezos and other big names like LA Dodgers owner Mark Walter, SLATE raised a hefty $118 million in a 2023 Series A funding round and is reportedly eyeing another $1.27 billion in a Series B. But what really sets SLATE apart is its vision. Their mission is to deliver a no-frills, affordable two-seat electric pickup truck by late 2026, far cheaper than Tesla's Cybertruck, which currently starts at an eye-watering $87,444. SLATE's approach is refreshingly different. Their slogan, "We build it, you make it," sums it up perfectly. Instead of offering a one-size-fits-all vehicle, SLATE is leaning into modular design, giving customers the freedom to customize their ride based on their needs. The team behind the project aren't just engineers, they're people who understand what makes cars practical, durable, and appealing to everyday drivers. SLATE is taking a grounded, real-world approach to EVs, rather than chasing the luxury, high-tech image Tesla is known for. And this timing might just be perfect. Tesla, once the undisputed leader in EVs, is starting to stumble. In the first quarter of 2025, Tesla's US sales dropped by 9%, even as the overall EV market grew by 11%. In its home turf of California, Tesla's market share slid from 55.5% to 43.9%. Meanwhile, traditional car makers like Ford and GM are gaining traction in the EV space. Tesla's much-hyped budget model, codenamed E41, has been delayed yet again, leaving a wide-open lane for companies like SLATE to swoop in and meet the demand for an affordable electric option. SLATE took full advantage of this window. Just days before Tesla's Q1 earnings call in April 2025, SLATE revealed its first prototype in Los Angeles, a slick move that got plenty of attention online. The unveiling of the compact SUV, though secondary to their pickup truck, added to the buzz, and social media lit up with posts congratulating the team on America's new EV. It's clear that SLATE wants to be more than just another EV brand. It wants to be the EV for the people, a practical, low-cost, customizable truck that ordinary Americans can actually afford. And with production plans already set for Indiana, and big names like former Amazon executive Diego Piacentini helping shape the strategy, SLATE seems to be channeling some of Amazon's old magic: efficiency, customer obsession, and disruptive pricing. But let's not pretend it's all smooth sailing from here. There are still huge hurdles to clear. Mass-producing EVs is notoriously tricky. SLATE will have to scale up manufacturing, ensure battery reliability, build a nationwide service network, and face off with heavyweights like Rivian, Ford, and BYD. And Tesla, despite its setbacks, still has a loyal fan base and a massive lead in infrastructure like charging networks. The idea of a $26,000 electric truck that you can customize to fit your lifestyle is powerful. If SLATE can actually deliver on that promise, on time and on budget, it could start a price war in the EV market. And that's exactly the kind of disruption that made Amazon a retail juggernaut. With Bezos now behind the wheel of this automotive shakeup, Tesla might just have to rethink its playbook. The EV crown is up for grabs, and SLATE Auto is coming for it. That said, does Tesla still appeal to its target audience? Losing its shine. A few years ago, owning a Tesla was kind of like being part of a club. Tech-savvy, forward-thinking, and just a little bit cooler than the average car owner. People loved the idea of ditching gas, plugging in their cars at home, and feeling like they were helping the planet while zipping around in something that looked like it came from the future. But fast forward to today, and the shine seems to be wearing off. Tesla's cars are still expensive, no matter how you spin it. Even after a few price drops, you're still looking at around $40,000 or more for a base model. If you want the good stuff, like full self-driving, bigger range, or just a nicer interior, you're going well past $50,000 or $60,000. That's a hard pill to swallow for most regular people, especially in 2025, when inflation is still high, interest rates are up, and people are just trying to get by. Now, it's making sense why Bezos' SLATE is resonating to the regular car users. Is Tesla that unnecessarily luxurious? It's not just about the sticker price. The cost of owning a Tesla goes beyond what you see on the window. Insurance tends to be higher for Teslas than for many other cars, and repairs can be a nightmare if something goes wrong. There aren't as many independent repair shops that work on Teslas, so you're often stuck going to Tesla directly, which can mean long waits and expensive service. On top of that, while charging a Tesla at home can be convenient and cheaper than gas, it's not always practical for people living in apartments or without access to a garage. Public charging stations are growing, but they're not everywhere yet, and even when you find one, it's not always working. Or it's packed with other EV drivers waiting in line. It's just not as easy or convenient as filling up a gas tank, especially for people who travel a lot or don't live in big urban areas. Then there's the competition. Back when Tesla first came on the scene, they were basically the only company making electric vehicles that looked cool and drove well. Now though, everyone's getting into the EV game. Ford has the Mustang Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning. Rivian is making trucks and SUVs that are turning heads. And Hyundai and Kia are absolutely killing it with stylish, affordable EVs that don't compromise on features or quality. You've even got luxury brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi stepping up their game with electric models that feel like a true upgrade from traditional gas cars. And let's be honest, some of these new EVs are just more comfortable, better built, and easier to live with than a Tesla. People are realizing they can get more bang for their buck elsewhere without dealing with the quirks that come with owning a Tesla. Speaking of quirks, a lot of buyers are starting to feel burned by the Tesla experience. The minimalist interior, which was once seen as sleek and futuristic, now feels kind of cold and unfinished to some people. There have been complaints about build quality for years. Things like misaligned panels, rattling doors, or weird software bugs that just shouldn't happen in a car that costs so much. And don't even get people started on the so-called full self-driving feature, which still isn't fully autonomous despite the name and the thousands of dollars people pay for it. It's more of a beta program than a finished product, and for a lot of consumers, that's just not good enough anymore. Combine that with Elon Musk's unpredictable public behavior, controversial statements, and polarizing business decisions, and some folks just don't want to support Tesla like they used to. Whether they agree with him or not, many people prefer to separate their car-buying decisions from politics or drama, and with other great EVs on the market, they finally have the option to do that. Another factor that's turning buyers away is uncertainty about long-term value. Teslas depreciate faster than some people expected, especially now that there are so many new EVs entering the market. Add in concerns about battery lifespan, like how much range will really be left after 5 or 10 years, and it makes people nervous about spending so much money on a car that might not hold its value or last as long as a traditional gas-powered vehicle. Plus, as charging networks expand and technology evolves, today's Tesla might feel outdated in just a few years. Some buyers are choosing to wait until EV technology becomes more stable and standardized before jumping in. When you put it all together, it's no mystery why a lot of Americans are pumping the brakes on buying a Tesla. The cars are still cool in a lot of ways, and they've played a huge role in pushing the industry forward. No doubt about that. But cool doesn't always pay the bills. With prices still high, competition heating up, charging challenges, and a general vibe shift around the brand, Tesla's not the automatic choice it used to be. These days, people want value, practicality, and trust in what they're buying. And for more and more Americans, that means looking beyond Tesla for their next car. All that's needed in an EV car. The whole point of owning a car, electric or not, is to get where you need to go, safely, reliably, and without too much fuss. That's it. But somewhere along the line, car companies started layering on so many extra features, luxury finishes, and cutting-edge technology that a lot of us lost sight of what actually matters. especially when it comes to electric cars, where the price tag can shoot up fast thanks to all the bells and whistles. The thing is, most people don't actually need all of that. What most people need is a basic, efficient, and affordable electric car that just works. Something that doesn't require a degree in tech or a huge bank account. So let's break it down. What do you actually need in an EC car if you're going for the most minimal setup that still works in the real world? Let's start with the most obvious and most important part, the battery. Without a solid battery, an electric car is just a heavy box on wheels. But here's the key. It doesn't have to be a massive, super long-range battery to be effective. Everyone talks about 300 or 400-mile range EVs like they're the gold standard, but the reality is that most drivers don't go more than 30 to 50 miles in a day. A battery with a real-world range of 150 to 200 miles is more than enough for daily commuting, school drop-offs, grocery runs, and even short road trips. The battery just needs to be reliable, meaning the range doesn't fluctuate wildly with temperature, the charge level is accurate, and it doesn't degrade too quickly over time. That's it. Give us a dependable battery, not necessarily a long-range one, and people will be just fine. Clearly then, Bezos's EV is actually just giving just what's truly enough for average people to get to point B from A. Along with the battery, you obviously need some kind of way to charge it. But even here, simplicity works. A lot of EV owners do most of their charging at home overnight using a basic level 2 charger. Public fast chargers are great for long-distance trips, but for everyday use, a home charger that can fill up the battery in 6 to 8 hours is more than sufficient. The car doesn't need a fancy charging management system, just compatibility with common chargers and a clear display that tells you how full your battery is and how much time is left. A basic app that tracks charging status and maybe sends a notification when the car is done charging. That's nice to have, but definitely not essential. Now, moving inside the car, let's talk about the interior. You don't need luxury finishes or a dashboard that looks like it belongs on a spaceship. What you need are clear, easy-to-use controls. A speedometer, a battery charge gauge, maybe a small screen or a few buttons for climate control and audio. Nothing more. Big touchscreens might look cool, but they can be distracting and overcomplicated. A minimal EC car should prioritize tactile buttons and knobs that you can use without taking your eyes off the road. A good heater and air conditioner are also non-negotiable. Those are basics, not luxuries. Being able to defrost your windshield in the winter or stay cool in the summer shouldn't be an optional add-on. As far as infotainment goes, most people already have a smartphone that does everything they need. Navigation, music, calls, podcasts, you name it. So the car doesn't need an expensive built-in system. Just give us Bluetooth and a couple of USB ports. That's plenty. Some cars come with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is helpful, but again, not strictly necessary. A good phone mount and a decent stereo can cover everything for a fraction of the cost. Now, let's talk about size and body type. A minimal EC car should be compact, something easy to park, lightweight, and efficient. You don't need a huge SUV unless you've got a big family or a specific need for extra space. For most city drivers or suburban commuters, a small hatchback or compact sedan is ideal. It's easier to maneuver, uses less energy, and costs less to build. The materials used in the interior should be durable, not fancy. Cloth seats that clean easily, simple plastic trim, and rubber floor mats that don't wear out after a few muddy days. It should be a car you don't mind getting a little dirty, not one you're scared to let your dog ride in. When it comes to safety, there are definitely a few features that even the most minimal EC car should include. Airbags all around, front, side, and curtain are a must. Basic stability and traction control help keep the car planted in rough weather. Anti-lock brakes are standard and shouldn't be skipped, no matter how basic the model. A rear-view camera is practically essential, especially for urban driving and parking in tight spots. Beyond that, you could argue for some very basic driver assistance tech, like blind spot warning or emergency braking, but you don't need the full self-driving suite. No LiDAR, no 360-degree cameras, no lane-centering autopilot. Just the essentials that actually help people avoid accidents, without turning the car into a rolling computer lab. Another often overlooked necessity in a minimal electric car is ease of maintenance. One of the great things about EVs is that they have fewer moving parts than traditional gas-powered cars. No oil changes, no timing belts, fewer fluids to top off. So a minimal EC car should lean into that simplicity. Everything under the hood should be accessible and easy to understand, even for someone who's not a mechanic. The manual should be straightforward, and the car should be designed so that basic repairs or part replacements aren't a nightmare. That helps keep costs down and makes the car more user-friendly in the long run. Finally, and this might be the biggest one of all, price. None of this matters if the car isn't affordable. A truly minimal EC car needs to come with a price tag that makes it accessible to the average buyer, not just early adopters or people with high incomes. We're talking somewhere in the $20,000 to $25,000 range, maybe less if government incentives are involved. SLATE echoing? Yes, except the government incentives part. That's the sweet spot where electric cars stop being niche and start becoming mainstream. If you can give people a basic, dependable electric car that meets their daily needs and doesn't require them to stretch their budget to the breaking point, that's a win for everyone. Drivers, automakers, and the planet. When you boil it all down, what do you really need in a minimal electric car? A decent battery with a practical range, simple charging, a clean and functional interior, the key safety features, low maintenance, and a price that makes sense. Everything else, massive screens, luxury materials, futuristic tech, those are nice, sure, but they're not necessary. A basic EC car that just works would be a game changer for so many people. It doesn't need to impress, it just needs to do its job well. That's what minimalism in electric cars should be all about. But manufacturing enough cheap EVs, especially for newbies in the industry, is still challenging, despite auto geniuses backing Bezos. Will the world witness the launch in the next year? The bumpy road to production and manufacturing. While Bezos has the cash, the connections, and the ambition to launch nearly anything, building a world-class EV isn't exactly a walk in the park. It's more like building a spaceship during a thunderstorm, blindfolded. First off, let's talk about manufacturing. Even with Amazon's massive logistics empire, making cars is a whole different beast. Setting up factories, sourcing parts, managing thousands of workers. It's hard, expensive, and extremely time-sensitive. Tesla spent over a decade smoothing out its production line, and even now, Elon Musk calls manufacturing hell. Bezos might want to leverage automation, robotics, and AI, but scaling that up while maintaining quality and safety standards, that's a high-stakes game with very little margin for error. Then there's the battery issue. EVs live or die by their batteries, and right now, the entire industry is scrambling to secure lithium, cobalt, and other rare materials. Prices are volatile, and mining practices are under increasing scrutiny for environmental and ethical concerns. If SLATE EV plans to compete with Tesla, Rivian, and the legacy automakers, it needs a solid battery supply chain, preferably one that's sustainable and ethical. That's a huge challenge, especially for a newcomer. Another sneaky challenge: regulation. Auto manufacturing is tightly regulated all over the world. Safety tests, emissions, even for EVs, recall procedures, right to repair legislation, the red tape is endless. Bezos might be used to navigating political waters with Amazon, but the EV game is a whole new level of scrutiny. Every country has its own rules, and launching globally means hiring entire teams just to deal with compliance. And then there's branding and market differentiation. Sure, Bezos has brand power, but does he have cool? The EV space is getting crowded. Tesla has the early adopter crowd. Lucid and Porsche have the luxury niche. Ford and GM are catching up with massive infrastructure. Rivian has the adventure, outdoorsy angle. So what's SLATE's identity? It's not enough to slap a name on a battery-powered car and expect people to buy it. Bezos needs to convince people that SLATE offers something they can't get anywhere else. That takes design, storytelling, and emotional appeal, things Amazon isn't exactly famous for. Even someone as powerful and wealthy as Jeff Bezos can't skip the messy middle of building a car company. Money helps, sure, but overcoming all these challenges, manufacturing, supply chain, software, regulation, branding, and culture will require more than just capital. It'll take vision, patience, and a team of people who know how to get their hands dirty. While the SLATE EV might eventually roll off the production line and into our driveways, the road there is full of potholes, speed bumps, and unexpected detours, and maybe a few sparks too. The new trend of cheap EVs. The future of cheap EVs, affordable, practical, and mass-market focused, is shaping up fast, and it's clear that automakers, both new and old, are racing to stake their claim. One of the main forces pushing this movement is the growing global demand for greener transportation options that don't break the bank. Governments are rolling out tighter emissions rules, offering subsidies, and investing in charging infrastructure, all of which help nudge people toward EVs. But the real game changer will be when electric cars cost the same or even less than their gas-powered counterparts. And we're getting closer. Battery technology is advancing rapidly, and costs are coming down year by year. That's making it possible for automakers to start designing EVs with the budget-conscious buyer in mind, without sacrificing too much on range or quality. Legacy car makers like General Motors, Volkswagen, and Renault are already plotting major EV expansions that include affordable options. GM, for instance, is banking heavily on its Ultium battery platform and has plans for a sub-$30,000 electric Chevy. Volkswagen has its ID series, and while models like the ID.4 have been mid-tier so far, they're promising cheaper variants, especially in developing markets. Renault's Dacia Spring, already one of Europe's cheapest EVs, proves there's demand for simplicity and affordability over flashy tech. It's not just the old guard. Newcomers and Chinese manufacturers are seriously shaking up the scene. Companies like BYD, NIO, and Wuling, behind the incredibly successful Hongguang Mini EV, are showing that you don't need a fat wallet to go electric. In fact, BYD is making waves not just in China, but internationally, with cars that are competitively priced and decently spec'd. The competition they bring is pressuring global players to up their game or risk losing the bottom end of the market entirely. Tesla, too, isn't sitting back. Elon Musk has teased a $25,000 EV multiple times, and while it's taken longer than expected, Tesla knows that to truly accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, it has to make something the average person can afford. If and when Tesla nails that price point, especially with its brand appeal and charging network, it could be a massive tipping point for EV adoption globally. A lot depends on infrastructure, charging networks, power grid capacity, and service support. In some countries, owning a cheap EV might not mean much if you can't easily find a place to charge it or get it repaired. Still, the direction is clear. We're moving from a world where EVs were the future for the few to a world where they're the norm for everyone. The next 5 to 10 years will be crucial as brands launch their affordable electric models, batteries get cheaper and better, and infrastructure catches up. The EV revolution isn't just about going green anymore. It's about making electric driving a realistic, attractive option for every wallet size. The big twist? Someone not from the EV industry is trying to make it possible. If it's out next year, will you get your own SLATE? Share us your thoughts in the section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.